Okay, so yesterday we have seen how we can identify different objects on the web page, right? Which are the optional attributes and which are the mandatory attributes along with the tag names. Now we have to extract them out of the web page so that we can actually interact with them, right? So just suppose I have a scenario that in this text box I have to enter my name. So how will I do that? Using Selenium. So likewise, we use Selenium WebDriver package to automate to start with our browser, to open up our browser and navigate to some URL. The same way to interact with the web elements, we have another package that is just below the WebDriver documentation. We have the web element documentation. If you'll open this documentation, you will find all the functions that you can perform. Like over here you can see there is a click function, which is to click on some button, on some link. If you have the functionality to do that, you can do this. In some text boxes there is some pre-default text written. You have to clear that text and then you can enter your own text. So this clear function will help you do that. Likewise, I have functions over here, find element. Find element. Now find element is the function which we are going to use to extract our element from the web page. And yeah, I'm sharing. Just a minute. Good morning. I'll just will check. Just give me 1 minute. Just let me know which current screen are you able to see. I'm opening the functions on which there is clear, click, find element functions are there. Okay, just a minute. There might be some lag. I'll just will switch to another connection. Just wait. Just a minute. Okay. So now, as I was saying, that we are going to use the find element function to extract the element from the web page, and then we'll take action on it. Which function we are going to take action on it? As I take the example of putting some data into the text box, that I'll come to later. Right now, let's extract the element first. Okay. So I'll go back to my PyCharm over here, and I'm just going to make a package, new package. Any issues? Okay. So firstly we have to do the initial things. We have to open a browser, we have to navigate to some URL, then my element is going to come up, right? So initial things we are going to do, WebDriver. I have to import it, so let's import it. WebDriver dot edge. Let's say I'm going to use edge. And I have just written that only. I have just written driver. Okay, there might be some lag. The internet is working fine. Can you see the command to open up the Edge browser? Okay. 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 So this command will open up my Edge browser. On Edge browser, where I want to navigate to? I want to navigate to seleniumtraining.com. So I'll say driver.get and I'll pass on the URL, that is seleniumtraining.com. Okay, now I'm going to extract that text box that I was talking about. So the command was find element, right? So I'll say driver dot find element in here. Now to this find element function, I have to pass two parameters. One is by what attribute I am going to find this element, whether it's a optional attribute, whether it's a mandatory attribute, which attribute I'm going to use, be it ID, name, class, whichever I have, that I'll pass as the first argument, and second argument will be the value. That what's the value, what's the, if you I'm using ID, then what's the ID value of that element, that I need to give, right? So if I just inspect that text box again, this name text box again, I'll inspect this object of this element. I will be using name attribute firstly. I'll say name, and the value to this name attribute is also name. The value is same exactly as the attribute name. So I'll say I'm using name attribute and the value to this is also name. Okay, I'll put this into a variable. After extracting this element from the web page, I'll put it into a variable. I'll store it into a variable. Let's say that variable is name text box. Okay, now I have extracted the element. I need to send some text into. I have to send my name into that text box. So to send some text inside some text box, we have a function that is send keys function. You'll get that on the URL over here, send keys. And to this send keys, you have to pass one parameter, that is the value which you want to send to this function, right? So I'll just will use that variable in which I have stored the element, and I'll say name dot text box, sorry, name text box, the variable dot there might be some issues. I already have raised a concern. They are looking into it. Kindly please bear it for the time. You'll just will see the command. I'll wait for the time. You'll be able to see the whole command. Then I'll run on. Okay. Yeah. So I'll use that function send keys over here, and I'll pass on my name so that that text box can be populated with my name. Right. This way. And at the end, this is just my practice that I follow, that every time I automate some of the URL, some of the browser, I make sure that my browser is not open at the end after execution, because I don't want extra browsers to kept open in my taskbar at the end. I just want to close them after execution. So what I do is I put some sleep time to see the final output, that you can do using the time.sleep. Time is a package and sleep is one of the function, time.sleep, and at the end using the selenium command driver.quit. Quit is the function which will close your browser which was under execution in this file. Okay, so this is a good practice. Even if you also do the same, if you automate some browser, you can also do the same practice. It will help you reduce the number of browsers lying and the confusion which last browser you actually executed, right? So over here now all you guys can see the final file which has been written till now. Yeah. So I have entered 5 seconds over there, so that what will time dot sleep will do, it will pause my code for 5 seconds, and after that it will proceed to the next command. This is what the time dot sleep is going to do. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply run this file, run. Now it will open up my Edge browser, will navigate me to seleniumtraining.com and proceed. So it has opened the Edge browser. Going to Selenium Python seleniumtraining.com. And in the text box it extracted it and it entered my name in the text box. After entering my name into the text box, it waited for 5 seconds and closed my browser itself. Okay, this way I can extract some element, take some action on it. It's the command to open up the browser using the Selenium command. You can open up any browser which you want using this command only. You just need to put on the browser name. If you want to open up Chrome, you will get it over here, Chrome. If you want Firefox, then will come Firefox. Likewise Edge, IE, Opera, Safari, whichever browser you feel like using, you can use over here. Okay. The installation part has already been covered in the very first class. I'll request you to please go and visit the first trial class for the details. Okay. So now we are able to extract the element in this way. This is one of the way. This find element is one of the way to extract the element. This is a generic function. You can use anything over here. You can use any attribute, be it name, ID, class, anything that you want to use, right? There are specific functions also available. Like if I want to use ID as my attribute to find element from, so here are my commands available. Find element by ID. In this function I just have to pass on the value of the parameter, value of that element, that what's the value of that element which is having this ID. That only parameter I have to pass. Likewise I have find element by name, find element by tag name, by find element by xpath, find element by class. Likewise I have a number of things. Now you must be wondering what these class name, CSS selector, tag name, link text, what all these are. These are basically the locators. We call them locators by which we extract elements from the web page. We will discuss them as well. In some time we'll come to XPath and CSS selector as well, that how actually we construct XPath, how we actually use them, and CSS selector as well. But for the time let's just go on and take the use of this specific function which will help me to extract element using the ID attribute. So what I'll do is I'll comment the 2 lines over here. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. The first parameter that I have passed, that is the locator name. We discussed three optional attributes. Name was one of them, so that is there. Other two similar to name. Yeah, ID, name, and class. Mhm. Hmm. Yes. Yes, exactly. Yes. Yes. These are the specific method for different locators. You can use the generic one as well. You can use the specific one as well. Both are going to do the same thing. That's totally up to your usage. Okay. Now let's just see that example as well, that how that particular thing is going to happen, the specific function. So I'm going to comment these two lines for the time, and then I'll say again, I'll just will take the same variable name text box. I'll store the variable in this variable. I'll store the element in this variable after extraction. And just saying, yeah, just okay. So now I'll say driver dot find element by. Now you can see the suggestion box. It has been populated over here itself. You can use the functions whichever you want. Just then it will come. There might be some delay. I've just kept it like this. When you see the suggestion box, just let me know. Mm, Let me try switching to the different internet. Right. That is the suggestion box. And in that suggestion box, you can see the functions coming up. Find element by XPath, find element by ID, find elements by tag name. Now that find elements is a different command. Right now, don't go on to the find elements. We will discuss that later on when we are going to actually use it. Don't go to it right now. Just look for the find element command. Right now, what I'm going to use is find element by ID. To this, I need to pass the value of the element, that what's the ID of that element. So I'll go on and I'll check it from here. That's user input name. I'll copy it from here and I'll paste it here. So here it come. Now my element will be extracted and will be stored in the text in that variable, and I'll just will say send keys and I'll again send my name here like this. Okay, now I'll just will save this and I'll run this. The output will be exactly the same as I got earlier. Just now the way of extracting was different. My attribute was different that I was using, like that. So it will visit the seleniumtraining.com. It will search for that element that I have given, and it populated my name in here in the text box and closed my browser itself this way. Okay, now this is not important that you always have to extract the element out of the web page and store it into a variable. No, You can do it in one line command as well. You can just extract the element by what command you want to use and take the action directly on that. Like this also you can do. Okay, the output will be same. Clear? Any questions, any doubts till now? Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, you can look for the ID attribute. If the element has ID attribute, you can directly access it. Because once a ID value has been assigned to some element, that same ID value will not be given to any another element on the page. That's the rule of designing the pages. Right. If ID is not there, you can look for name. Name is also the same thing as ID is. And if both these optional attributes are not used, then you can turn on to the XPath or CSS selector. That we have not done yet, but how to do that, that we'll cover. Then you can go on with XPath and CSS selector, because CSS selector and XPath are somewhat unique addresses that we make of an element using different things. Like if we have another elements, like I have class attribute, like I'll tell you how to make that. But this is the hierarchy that you can see: ID, name. If they are not there, then move to the CSS selector or XPath. Okay, now moving to the next locator, that is the XPath. Now when I talk about XPath is basically a unique address of a element that we make on the web page. Only one XPath can represent an element. That's up to the making. We'll come to that. Right. Now XPaths are of two type. One is the complete XPath, which starts from the root of the page. And when I say root of the page, that's the very first tag of the page. When we look for the page source, there is the very first tag. And that tag is, if I'll just open the page source of this page. So this is the first tag of my page, HTML tag. The complete XPath will always start from here, from the HTML tag. And there is one more XPath, there is second type of XPath, which is the partial XPath, which actually does not start from the root of the page. We find a level from which I want to start the XPath, and then only we construct the XPath. Right. So let's just first talk about the complete XPath, and then we'll move on to the partial XPath. So let's just go over here. Now making a complete XPath can be a task. So I'm not going to the last of the page, I'm not going to the bottom of the page. I'm just going to take the very first elements only, like this static text, Selenium, Python and C# training. If I inspect this text over here, it does not have any attribute like ID, name. It does not have anything like that. Right. So how to actually identify this from the web page? Here the need comes up for the XPath as well, that if some element does not have any optional attribute, we use XPath or CSS selector. Otherwise, to just make the locator stronger, that also we can use. Okay, now let's just start building it. This is our inspecting screen where I can see everything related to the element. So if I'll scroll down up a little, this is the first tag of my page. And complete XPath starts from here only. So on my inspecting screen, I'm hitting Control F over here so that I can type something, and I'll start with the making of XPath. So my first tag is HTML. Few things to note about: if you are going the right way, if you're going right way in finding the XPath, your text will be highlighted in yellow, like the HTML tag is highlighted in yellow, likewise. Right. So this is important to know. If you're going wrong, your element will not be highlighted. So there you have to stop and rebuild it from the last point. Okay. Now to move further down to the hierarchy, what I need to do is I need to use a forward slash. Below this HTML tag, I have two tags. One is the head tag and one is the body tag. What I am considered about is what I am more concerned about is the body tag. We are not going to have anything in the head tag ever. Head tag is something about the JavaScript functions, queries that are going to be applied on. Head tag is for that. No need to go into the head tag, just go into the body tag. So I'll say slash body. It got highlighted. Again forward slash. Then I'll move on. These tags you can see over here, div tag, and div tag. These are at the same level. These are the parallel tags. So they will form, this is div 1, this is div 2, div 3. So if I face any these things these are the parallel tag and they will be in a proper sequence. Now I'll just will go on where I want to go. I want to go inside this div tag. So let's just count the number of divs I come across. 1, 2, 3, 3. Just the same tags we are going to count. Script is a different tag. We are not going to count the script tag. 1, 2, 3. Then 4, 5, 6. 6 is the tag which I am going to go inside because my element is beneath this tag. So I'll say slash div, which div I want to go inside. In the square brackets I can give the number. If I want to go inside second div tag, the second div tag will be highlighted. In the fifth tag, then that will highlight. What I am concerned about is sixth one. So sixth got highlighted. Right. Then I have to go inside this tag. So I'll use again forward slash. Below this tag, I again have a div tag. So I'll say div 1. First division is there. So div 1 slash. Again it's below that tag. So I'll add with h1. Here I come. So this is the complete XPath that has been made for this text over here. This one. Starting from the HTML tag, moving down the hierarchy, we reached over here and we have got the final text over here. Right. Now if I have to use it and extract this element from the web page. So what I'll do is I have two methods. One is the generic one, find element function, and one is the specific one. So let's just go on with the specific function. Okay. So I'll just will say driver dot find element by XPath, and the XPath that we have made, that I'm going to put over here. Okay. Now this is a static text. I cannot click on it. I cannot put some text inside. I cannot do anything with this. This is just a text I can read on the website. So what if I have to extract it and read what's written over there? So that also I can do. It's inside the tags. The text is written already in the designing of the page, so that I can just simply get using the text function, text parameter. Text. This text function is going to give me the value or the text which is inside this element. That's what it's going to do. So I'll have to print this. So I'll just will print it. I'll save it, and for the time I'm commenting the above command. I'll just will be concerned about this one. So I'll save it and I'll run it. Okay. Since the page took a lot of time to load, that's why in here I have got an exception. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rerun this code just to see that whether it takes it on. I'm going to run it again. Okay, it's not finding it. Just let me see. Find element by XPath. Mhm. Okay, there might be something is wrong in the command, or it's taking some time to load, because of which the XPath is not being found by Selenium. Because what actually happens is Selenium immediately starts looking for the element when the page gets ready to be loaded. Right? Might be that is the issue because of which it's not able to find it or something like that. But the XPath that we have made, that is absolutely correct over here, because there is only one element which is being highlighted. You can see here this way. This is the only element which is being highlighted. So this is the way we make the complete XPath, heading from the HTML tag and lowering down. If I just want to go to the first division tag, first tag of any element, then I don't have to specify one. It's not compulsory, it's optional. I just did it just to show you that this also you can do. Otherwise you can skip one. If you have to go to the second one, then you have to specify the number. Okay. Okay, that's not the issue because we are not concerned about the complete XPaths right now. Why is it so? Because we refrain ourselves from using the complete XPath. Why is it so? Because it starts from the root of the page, that is the HTML tag. Now suppose in that location from the HTML tag till the element you are looking for, there are some tags which have been deleted, some tags which have been added, some whole module has been added. So if you want to reuse the same XPaths, the complete XPath that you have built a week ago, and now the changes have been made to the page design, then you have to reconstruct your complete design. Then you have to reconstruct your whole XPath. Right. So that's why we do not go for the complete XPath. Instead, we look for the partial XPath more importantly. Now, why is it partial XPath more used? Because we choose the level from which I want to construct it. I don't look for the root of the page. I see from where I want to do. Right. So what we do is, right now this is the element which I want to look for. So what I'll do is, I'll just will look for the element that whether it has the optional attribute ID or name. This particular element which is highlighted right now, it does not have ID or name. So I will do what? I will move to the upper tag. So what my upper tag is? This is my upper tag, div class. This is a tag div. It has an optional attribute class. So this is also not what I'm going to use. I'll move one step above to the upper tag. This is div tag and it also have an option attribute that is ID. So this is the tag from where I will be constructing my partial XPath for this element. If it has ID, it's the best. If it has name, then you can use that as well. That's totally going to work fine. Okay, but ID is the best thing that you can use. So if I just have to extract this XPath from this tag which has the ID main banner. So what I'll do is I'll say to start with we put double slash that we are going to make our own XPath. Then you can use star. What star will do is star will select all page elements. That what you can do. Otherwise what you can do is you can put the tag name which you are going to use. I'm going to use the div tag, so that I'm going to use over here. Let's go to that element where it has gone, body, sixth element it was, yeah, right, div. Then in the square brackets I will use @ and I will specify that which attribute I'm going to use over here. I'm going to use ID is equals to, in single quotes I'll specify that what's the ID of this div tag that I'm looking for. It's main banner. That will highlight over here. So what this particular line is going to do is on the whole page it's going to look for a division tag, a div tag which has a ID named main banner. Got this point? Right. Now what next we are going to do is we are going to follow the same hierarchy. I have to go downwards and reach to my element slash div slash h1. I have reached to my element. Now this is the XPath which has been constructed over here. This is my partial XPath. You can see the difference between the complete and the partial XPath. This is how it's going to be. Okay. Now let's just try this as well. I'll use the same XPath and I'll put it over here. So now you can see over here, it has given me the text which I was looking for. This particular partial XPath gave me this text of the element, like that. Okay, you can use the same thing by the generic command as well, find element command, and the output will be given to you. Okay. The partial one. In some cases the complete XPath can work, but not in all, because if we make the complete XPath, it is it fine now? Yeah. So suppose right now I have just taken this element which was at the very top of the page. So we have got that XPath that we have seen. Suppose I want to go on till here, till this text box I want to go, and I want to extract this, and I have to make the complete XPath for this particular element. Just imagine how long this XPath is going to be, because we have to follow a number of steps, we have to go on and go on and go on. This is a very simple site we are using. In coming times there might be a complicated site which is going to come, right? So reconstructing the whole, you can give this answer to someone if he's asking. So that what you can say, that it will be first, it will be a very longer XPath, one could not be able to read it at one go. Secondly, it's not able to reconstruct the whole XPath again and again if the page design has been changed. There could be addition or deletion of some tags, there could be a movement of some tags, right? So that is what we can do, right? Okay. Any other question? Yeah. It's totally up to you. If you want to use the complete XPath for the bottom page element, you can. There is no restriction on that. You can do that. You can try it. It's up to your convenience, whether you are comfortable or not. Okay? But usually we go with the partial XPath. Yes, there is existence of complete XPath. Any another questions? Any doubts? Okay. So now we have seen how to construct XPath by our own, how to use it to extract element, how to make them, and how to use them, right? But the question comes that do we actually have to make XPath, we have to construct XPath every time, right? Because it's not possible, we must be in a hurry and we are not going to make the XPath by our own. There might be tools to copy and paste it, right? So how to do that? It's very simple. Let me just close this. Yeah, let's suppose I want to look for this contact number and I want the XPath for this. I got the page source for this element. I'll right click on the highlighted part. This is for Chrome, I'm telling you. I'll right click on it. I get number of options over here. I get an option of copy as well. I'll look for the options in the copy option. I have two options over here. One is copy full XPath. This is for complete XPath. If you want the complete XPath, you can use this. How it's going to look like? It's going to look like this. the complete XPath for some another element. The same way, if I want just the partial XPath, then I have copy XPath option. If I'll copy XPath, this will be my XPath. Right. This way you can copy it from here as well. Same way, we have tools also available to copy the XPath to get the accurate XPaths as well, and that tool is CrowPath. In Chrome, that is CrowPath. Over here, this is the tool that you're going to. This is actually a add-on on the browser. You can just add on, right? You can look for Chrome add-ons and you can add it simply, right? On any element where your cursor has been and you have been looking for the page source, it will automatically calculate the XPath itself. You can see over here, it's giving me, first of all, it's giving me the tag name, that what's the tag name of the element that I have chosen. It's the input tag. I'm using the text box, it's the input tag. Then just above it, I have the complete XPath. Complete, sorry. Okay, is it fine now? I'll just have raised the concern. They are looking into it and they are trying to solve it as soon as possible. I'm sorry for the low connectivity. I'm really sorry for that. On the screen, you would see the highlighted one where I have selected the text. That's the complete XPath for the chosen element by the tool we have chosen, the CrowPath. Above that, that's the CSS selector. We have not covered yet, so we'll talk about this later. And at the top, we have the partial XPath. So you can use this tool as well to get the accurate XPaths as well. Okay. For Chrome also there are some things that needs to be taken care of, but that I'm not going to cover today because it will take some time and we may leave that in between. So I'm not going to cover it right now. We'll talk about it in the next session. If you have any doubts, any question in this part, you can just let me know. Okay, I expect there are no doubts. Everything is clear to all. So I will. Okay. So I'll rest the class with this topic only. I'll request you guys to practice. Yes. Yes. Mm, yes. Yes. There are few things that needs to be covered still that we will be continuing by tomorrow's class. This is just the basics that I have covered. Yeah, this is just the basics that I have covered. Okay? Yeah. So I'll request you guys to practice this whatsoever we have covered in the today's class. Find out and try to make your XPath by your own, complete, partial, howsoever you like, and practice it. Okay? Hmm. Hmm. This is a trial class, so you'll get it on YouTube. You'll get the link of it. By tomorrow, you'll get it in the batch recordings over here when you'll sign in. Your voice breakdown between. Did- You want today's class? Okay, on the pre-recording videos you are saying. Okay, so over here you will be getting that. Just a minute. Mm. From this module, identification of objects using XPath with Selenium. This is the first one, identification of objects in Selenium Python WebDriver. This is the basic one that we covered yesterday. Using XPath is the XPath topics from start to end. That's covered in this module. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions?